All right. What? Oh, just sitting cross-legged feels strange to me. Oh, what is 2024, the year of the uh, natural disasters? Unbelievably, yeah. So, just so you guys at home know, yeah. So Thomas and Rachel's house didn't lose power at all. The lights flickered a lot, but didn't lose power and didn't flood at all. And, 3 million people down there didn't have power, and still, some of them still don't. So we were very fortunate. We were all fine. They lost some shingles, so they'll have to have their roof looked at. And they had a leak from the pipe that goes from the air conditioner into the house. It was leaking, but we went up in the attic and were messing with it during the storm, so didn't do any damage, and very lucky. Yeah. Yeah. And then they live right down the street from a Home Depot. Walking distance, right? Like less than a half mile. And so we were able to just keep working on, getting them set up. And oh, the other important piece of information is, so their moving truck didn't get there when we got there on Friday, but it did come on Sunday just as the storm was starting. So we were all out there in the rain, moving their stuff in quick, but at least it was there. So we had lots of stuff to do during all the storm. So it couldn't have really, yeah. And then an extra week with just Tom and Rachel. That doesn't ever happen because, we're always the whole family's together. So everybody wants their time. So it was all good. It was just frustrating. The flying experience was not fun, but but other than that, so let's just do a little yoga. I think we could all use it. So please close your eyes. And just take a few moments. Feel your breath. Appreciate that we all didn't get hit too hard with the derecho. There's a term or a phrase that I don't know, came up with a few years back. Some of you have heard it before, called perception management. And perception management is kind of like life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you perceive it or react to it, if you will. All this chaos that happens around us, perhaps you can manage that, the perception of it. And keep your calmness inside, whether it's crazy outside. Please bring hands to heart center. May we not have any more natural disasters in the near future. But if we do, help us to utilize perception management. And notice that there's grace and beauty in everything. Please lower your hands, but keep your eyes closed. Feel your nice, long and strong spine. And then tuck your chin. Feel nice and long in the back of the neck. And then allow your head to just kind of roll to the right. So your right ear is close to your right shoulder. Don't force it there. Just allow gravity to take your head. And then roll it forward and over to the left side. And then just do that one more time, back to the right through the middle with your chin tucked. And then back and over to the left side. See if there's any muscles or strands in your neck that need stretched out. Good. And then coming back to center. Lift your head and open your eyes. Now, keeping that nice long spine, just rotate your head to the right and see if you can just keep your shoulders the same as twisting your neck. And then move through center and look to your left, maybe even behind you a bit. And utilize your eyes to help you. And one more time, back to the right. That nice long back of neck, tall through the spine. And then back to the left. And coming back through center. Place your hands on your knees in that cross-legged position and press down, and as you do, resist. Press up. Yeah. Feel a little work in your hips. Feel that nice long spine still. Good. Relax it. Switch the shin that's in front and do that again. Good. And then relax for a moment and just bring your right arm out to the side. I'm going to have you just start at the shoulder and slowly rotate the shoulder and then the upper arm, the elbow, and the forearm. Just rotate it in. Turn it all the way around. And then starting with the shoulder again, rotate it out, all the way out. Just really noticing a stretch in the shoulder. Good. One more time each way. Maybe your palm can come all the way up. And maybe when you roll it the opposite way, mine doesn't go back as far, but you feel a nice stretch. Good. Let's do that with the other side. Start at the shoulder, roll everything in. Just go slow. Stretching all those muscles. And opposite direction. Try not to move too much in the rest of your body. Moving the shoulder in and out. And the arm stretches. One more time, both ways. And now keep that arm out there in the outer spiral rotation. Bring your opposite arm and roll it in. So you have one out, one in, and then switch. Try not to move your spine too much. You feel a little bit of movement when you do it this way. Good. A couple more times, just feeling that stretch. Crack, crack. Yeah. Good. And then just turn both palms up, stretch your arms way up, get nice and tall. And now just think of turning your body to the right. You can bring your hands down, a little twist here. That made me sweat. Been sweating a lot. Good. Stretch your arms up. Twist the opposite direction. And down. Good. And then come on back to center. And let's transition to all fours. And just start into some cat cows. I had music going, but it's gone now. Okay. And same here. I want you to start with your tailbone and just kind of move from that space. Moving your spine into cow. Really identifying each vertebrae. Think of your neck and head as an extension of your spine. Pause anywhere that feels like you need extra stretch there. One more round. And then pause with a flat back and extend your right leg. And I'm going to have you do the same thing. So think of starting with your hip, turning that leg out, so outer spiraling it. You can allow the hip to lift a little bit if you would like. And then starting with the hip again, spiral it in. So turning everything in, the toes come in, maybe the hip lowers a little bit. And then find a neutral position where the hips are square to the floor. And just point and flex your foot a few times. Feel your core helping you stay there. And then add your left arm. And just think of keeping the right leg and the left arm kind of in a neutral position, a strong position in the socket. And breathe. And then release. Good, and let's switch to the left side. So left leg extends, turning the leg, starting at the hip, turning it out a little bit. It doesn't rotate as far as the arm does, but maybe the hip lifts a little bit. And then in. Maybe the hip lowers. Feel a big stretch. Do that one more time. Spiraling it out. And spiraling it in. And then finding a neutral position, feeling your core, your low belly drawing up, feeling really strong in that hip socket, and then flex and point your foot a few times because it feels awesome. Holding that steady, lifting from the meat of your hamstring, and then add the left arm or right arm. Sorry, left leg, right arm. I'm a little compromised. Think of a long, long spine, even through the top of your head. Good, and then release. And go ahead and take a child's pose. Keeping your arms stretched long. Not working the hands too much. Just feeling a stretch in the side body. Side bodies, both sides. And then lift up onto fingertips and walk your hands to the right side. Stretch in your left side body. Maybe the hips shift a little bit. And then walking fingers over to the left side. Just take your time. Appreciating the stretch. And coming back to center. Lift back up to all fours. You can keep your hands slightly in front of your shoulders. We're just going to do thread the needle. So extend the right arm and thread it underneath the left. You can come up on fingertips with your left hand if you want. And then unwind and switch. Left arm extends and thread it underneath. Just notice if one side feels different than the other. It's okay, it just is what it is. And lift back up. Hands slightly in front of the shoulders. Lift your hips, or just lift your knees first. Keep the knees bent slightly. And think, I want to send my sits bones back and apart. And then I'm going to slowly straighten my legs, but use the outer hips to stabilize. So you feel really nice and strong in your legs. Big stretch there. So you find that balance between outer spiral and inner spiral to really support your legs. And you can also feel that up your spine, maybe into your arms. And now try and maintain that as you move forward into a plank pose. Supporting the outer thighs, but keeping the sits bones back and up. You'll feel your core engage more. And then push back again to downward facing dog. And just do that a couple times, just thinking I want to keep really stable arms and legs, and my core follows suit. If you let your hips drop too low, you won't be able to feel that. And one last time to plank. Feeling the outer thigh support you, but hip bones backing up, and then lower down to the mat. See how slow you can go. Keep the leg support. Excuse me. Good, and lower to the mat. And then just do a couple cobra lifts. You can utilize your breath. I try not to use my legs too much. I just want to lengthen my spine. One more time. Good, and release. And then push all the way back. Child's pose. Stack your hands under your forehead. And making your way back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees, think sits bones back, apart, and up. And then balance that by really using the outer thighs, your core, to stretch the legs straight. And then one hand at a time, walk them back towards your feet. Try not to lose that balance in your legs. You might have to bend your knees a little bit. You can even reposition. So bend the knees, think sits bones back and apart. Firm the outer leg and re-straighten. And then try to maintain that connection, inner and outer, a balance between, and bend your knees, bring your hands to your knees, sit your butt way back. Just reconnect, think, do I still have the support? Both sides of my legs slowly come up to just with your torso. Bring your hands to heart center. See if you can maintain that. So think inner spiral, outer spiral with the legs. It really feels strong. And then extend the arms. Maybe they don't come straight up. Maybe they come by your ears like mine. Strong Utkatasana. Do you feel how when you support the outer thigh, your belly engages? Good, now press into your feet. Stretch all the way up. Good, and bring hands through heart center. Release your hands. Got me all breathing hard. Feel that. Just notice your legs now. You did all that work, how strong they feel. See if you can imagine how centered the weight is. So from feet to knees to hips, all the way up. It's like a plumb line all the way down. Good. Now let's just reverse that. So stretch your arms up. Think of that balance in your legs as you slowly bend back to Utkatasana. Bring hands to heart center. Keep that balance. Keep the core engaged. You don't have to go low, but twist to your right. Nothing changes in the legs and low body. Just feel a nice stretch. Come back through center. Twist to your left. Good. And back through center. Just check one more time. Get that balance going. Hands to the knees. Slowly straighten the legs. Come back to forward fold. And walk your hands back out to downward facing dog. Don't lose the connection. Your legs. I always have to do that again just to see, do I have a good balance going? I feel supported equally in my shoulders. Front and back support, even though I feel hollow in my armpits. Good. And then come forward to plank. And lower to your knees. And in all fours, just grab your blocks and bring them under your hands. And then come on up to downward facing dog here. You can even get your heels closer to the floor with that good connection feeling of support on inner and outer leg. Keep that, especially on your left one as you extend the right leg. Feel the outer left thigh working. Feel your core working. Outer spiral that leg, so it's like from the hip, turn it out. Keep the connection through the left leg, and then go the opposite way. Turn it in. Good, find that balance. So it's just extended, and then step it through to a deep lunge. Appreciate that stretch for a moment. Even here, you can kind of feel a balance. It's bones, outer thighs, and then lower the back knee. And slowly come upright. So don't let one hip lift. So my right hip always wants to lift here. I'm thinking, oh, I want it to support it both sides. Then you feel really stable in your base. Maybe extend your arms. Oops. Anjaneyasana. Hold. Thinking I'm really supported in the lower body. Maybe bend a little deeper so your hips just shift forward. Good. And two more breaths, actually. It's a lot of work supporting yourself this way, but it feels really good. And touch down on your exhale. Now slide your hips back, but keep that connection, that stability in both hips as you straighten your right leg. Again, just notice, did you lift or did you lower that right hip? Keep it really connected, centered, hips even. Good, bend back into the front knee. Hands to the blocks. Curl the toes, lift the back knee, and step back to that supported inside and outside downward facing dog. Take your time. Like sits bones back, up and apart, and then outer hip supporting you. And extend the left leg. Just really notice that right outer hip and leg actually supporting you, and then turn the left leg out, starting at the hip. Maybe the hip lifts. Good, and then go the opposite direction. Start at the hip, rotate it in. Maybe the hip drops a little bit, but you're really supported by the outer thigh. And then find that middle point. Super supported. And then step it through, deep lunge. Sometimes when you step through, you lose that because, you're trying to get it in the right spot. So reconnect. Lower the back knee. Stretch up, anjaneyasana. Be mindful, noticing whether you lifted that hip, whether you lost the outer right thigh or the outer left thigh. But you're really trying to be kind to your low back, keeping the sits bones back and apart. Low belly drying up. Two more breaths. On the exhale, touch the blocks. Slide your hips back, being mindful. Everything stays even. Really feeling supported in your legs so that it just feels like a super good stretch. Manage your perception. You might be thinking bad thoughts about me because it is a lot of work. But realize your perception should be that I'm trying to help you become stronger, more flexible, mentally, physically, and maybe even spiritually. Good. Bend back into your front knee. Lift the back knee. And this time just step forward to a forward fold. And just slowly roll up to standing, one vertebra at a time. Good. Stretch your arms up. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. Notice your legs are supporting you, and then just arc to your right. Bones are back, but yet feel the outer thigh supporting you. Come back to the center and switch. Breathe. Back to center. And then just release your hands and bring them back behind you. Keep the nice tall spine, nice connected. Maybe interlace your hands here. And then fold forward again. Keeping your legs strong, supporting you. Just go slow, keeping your shoulders strong, supported both front and back. Maybe allow the hands to come over a little more, keeping long back of neck, broadening the clavicles. And release your hands to the blocks. And step your right foot back to a deep lunge. And then ground that foot down so it's more like a 30-degree angle. So it's not parallel to the back of your mat. And then think, I'm going to bring both blocks to the inside and kind of at a 30-degree angle here. And then I want you to notice, so take the sits bones back and apart and broaden, and then try to draw your left hip underneath a little more. Keep the right outer hip really strong. So you feel super strong and supported in your legs. Your left hip's drawing under a little more, and then maybe walk your blocks out for a down dog lunge if you feel really supported. That's good, you guys. When you're using that balance, it feels really like a huge hip opener, and it's safe for your knee. Full breath. And then walking the blocks back in. Bring it one hand on either side, turn your back heel up. And step back. Down dog. Let's do that on the other side. So feel sits bones back and apart. Support it with the outer leg. Extend the right leg. And step it through. I feel this mostly in my left leg when I do that. Ground the back foot down just to that 30-degree angle. Walk the blocks to the inside to a good spot. And then think sits bones back and apart. Support by the outer thigh, but draw the right hip underneath a little bit more. Maybe stretch out a little bit. Oh, good. Draw the right hip under a little more, bend back. Track the knee straight. Good, and then come on back in. Blocks on either side, turn the heel up and step forward, forward fold. Now think of supporting the legs inner and outer, keeping the sits bones back. You'll feel your core engage, your belly, low belly drawing up, the sides of the hips drawing up, and then pranam. Notice how easy that is. And fold. And then inhale, sweep all the way up to standing. And exhale, hands through heart center. Keep going. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Be mindful with your legs. Inhale, pranam. And exhale, fold. Step your left foot back first to a deep lunge. This time ground it all the way down to 90 degrees. So your foot's parallel to the back of the mat. Bring your left hand to your hip and your right elbow to your knee. Now think, okay, if I bend my knees a little bit more, get the sits bones back and apart, and then support that by drawing the right thigh underneath and integrate that left outer thigh, then come to parsvakonasana. You can extend the arm if you're feeling it. Maybe extend it by your ear. Lengthen your low belly up. Good. Now slowly touch down. Turn the back heel up. Back down dog. Finding that integrated downward facing dog, especially the right outer thigh. Extend the left leg. And step it through to deep lunge. Ground the back foot down. Right hand to the hip. Now, before you do anything else, think, okay, sits bones are back and apart. And then I just want to support myself by encouraging the outer thighs. You can bring the elbow to the knee if you want, or keep it on the block. I don't care. For me, feels pretty good on the block at this point. Draw the left thigh underneath. Really nice, you guys. Extend the arm up and over by the ear if that feels okay. Notice the outer thighs. You're not scooping the tailbone, but you're using those sits bones back and apart and really stretching the outer thigh to support you. And it feels like an inner thigh stretch too, right? Good. Touch down. Turn the back heel up and step forward if you can. Forward fold. Inhale, pranam. Get that feeling. And pranam. Exhale, fold. And inhale, sweep all the way up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Feel the support of your legs. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold. Pranam. And fold. Right foot steps back. Ground the back foot down. Now you know what you're looking for. Right hand to the hip. Feel the support of your legs come up to warrior two. Now you feel like a real warrior because you're so well supported. Uh-huh. Good. Stretch the front legs straight. And dive into a triangle pose. Notice how the right hip feels like it's lifting because you're supporting that left hip underneath you. We said that standing poses aren't hip openers, right? Support front of the shoulders and back of the shoulders. Good. Come back up. Warrior two, bend the front knee. Are you still supported there? And windmill windmill down. Turn the back heel up. Step back, down dog. Bend the right leg. Feel the support of the left leg. Step it through. Ground the back foot down. Left hand to the hip. Yep, find that support both in and out. Come on up, warrior two. Straighten the front leg. And dive into triangle pose, but just keep thinking, I want that support front and back of my thighs. Front and back of the shoulders. Good. Come on back up. Come to warrior two. Windmill down. Turn the back heel up. Step back. Downward facing dog. Just move your blocks off to the side. In regular down dog. Inhale to plank. Feel the support in plank. Pause there so you can really feel it. Your hips don't lower too much. And then lower to the ground, keeping all that integration good. On your own, cobra. Just stay there for a few breaths. Or move up and down. And lower down. Push all the way back to a child's pose. Always, for me, perception management is easy when you're so focused on your body. You can't think of anything else. You're totally present. On up to all fours. Swivel your heels or your feet to one side so you can come down to a seated position. Stretch your legs out long in front of you. You can find sits bones underneath you. And now bend your right knee and bring that ankle across your left. And I just want you to keep the sits bones both grounded and feel like you're kind of stretching the outer thigh. So nothing changes there. You're just stretching that hip. Feel that. If that feels good and you want more stretch, you can lift that leg up a little bit. Keep the foot flexed. Sometimes I like to even bring my elbows underneath. Maybe even rock the baby a little bit side to side. Yeah, we needed that stretch, didn't we? Good. And release that one down and let's do the other side. And the knee. Think of it as a hinge. It's really important that you're protecting the knee. So you're just turning that hip in the socket. Just notice one side might feel tighter. And then if you want more stretch, you can lift it. Just see, one side always feels way different for me. Maybe stretch it. These guys are groaning here. Yeah, this one's really tight. Maybe rock the baby a little bit. Oh, good. Release. And go ahead and lay on your back with your knees bent. Just appreciate that feeling. You feel your sacrum grounded. And then interlace your hands behind your right leg. So your sits bones are back and apart. You have that curve. You're going to keep the curve as you stretch the right leg straight. Support it with the outer thigh. But then, if you can, extend the left leg straight into the floor. Don't let your right hip lift at all towards your head. Just keep it steady. Feel that. Flex and point your toe. Maybe make a circle. And release that leg. Keep the knee bent to start. Interlace behind the left thigh. Your goal is to keep those hips steady and stable, your spine nice and long as you straighten the left leg and maybe extend the right one. If it doesn't work for you to extend the right one, no big deal. Your goal is to keep things steady. Maybe flex and point. Good. And then release, hug both knees in, roll up into a little ball. Get the low back nice and long in this position. Lay your head and shoulders back down, and then just move your knees to the right and to the left a little bit. Just kind of like keeping your spine grounded. And then stretch out for Shavasana. Take a few moments. Notice, hey, am I comfortable in my shoulders? Do I need to move a little bit to get them in the best possible position? Same way with your arms, maybe outer spiral them a little bit to get the arms in a good position to totally relax. Hips, legs, feet. Feel totally relaxed. Follow your breath or your heartbeat. I'm going to share this reading from Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Little Book of Wisdom. He says, on this beautiful planet Earth, we have 7 billion people, and we are all artists. It doesn't matter where we were born, or what language we speak, or what religion we have, or what philosophy we follow. We are all artists, each one of us. I'm talking about the totality of humanity around this beautiful planet Earth. Of course, many people are not aware that they are artists, but once you have that awareness and you see that your art is your own story, then it's easy to understand that if you don't like your own story, only you can change it. No one else can change it, but you can change it. Similarly, you cannot change anybody else's story. You cannot change your beloved's story, your children's story, your parents, or anybody else's. You can only change yours. Most of it has to do with perception management. Please turn your thoughts back to the breath moving in and out. And you start to move with your limbs and fingers and toes still move. And when you're ready, just draw your knees in. Well, to whichever side you'd like and push on up to seated. Give yourself a few more moments to breathe. Taking the feeling of what happens in your body when you practice. Bring hands to heart center. Appreciate you guys practicing this morning. I bow to that artist within each of you. Namaste. Ah, my body feels better. Hope yours does too.